Mark my words, comrade. One day things would change. We would take the fight to their land, to their people, to their blood.
The citizens of Berlin, every steel surrounds your rotten city. We will crush all who dare to resist the will of the Red Army. This is your only warning. Abandon your cause. Abandon your homes. Abandon all hope.
Call of Duty World at War has a way better campaign than you or I previously thought. I said it was awesome. It's not. This is a certified Act-Man masterpiece. War, like you've never experienced before. Yeah, how many times have we heard that? But it's actually true for this game.
This is madness! Our rockets are tearing the city apart! Get inside!
Like, it's so cinematic, dude. Now we're in the buildings, we worked our way into the Reich. You might remember when I posted this video coming off the heels of Call of Duty World War II. Excuse me for a moment. Sorry. After being thoroughly disappointed by yet another COD title in 2017, I took a trip back to the past to see if the last World War II game was as good as I remembered. And well, would you look at that? 4 years later, we're back here again. I'm getting deja vu.
Time is a flat circle.
So I wanted to do something different. I don't normally take a whole video to review a Call of Duty campaign, but World at War deserves it.
Now you just grazed him!
You just grazed him!
Now you just grazed him!
You just grazed him!
Now you just grazed him!
What?
Now you just grazed him! Now you just grazed him! Now you just grazed him!
Now before we jump into it, this video is sponsored by Genshin Impact. What the fuck was that hand motion? This video is sponsored by Genshin Impact. Explore a dynamic open-world RPG across multiple platforms. Traverse the lands of Teyvat. Engage in elemental combat with 7 different types of attacks, and with each element originating from a different region and part of the world. Now that's lore-friendly. But you don't have to fly solo. Group up with 3 of your buddies in co-op to unleash even more elemental devastation. In my time playing Genshin so far, I've been really satisfied using different kinds of attacks. Yeah, I murder blobs with magic. What are you gonna do about it? The game is constantly evolving with major updates, adding totally new areas to explore, like the Chasm. The latest update, 2.6, just came out in April, and the Marvelous Merchandise event is going on right now. We can find and trade items for all kinds of exclusive rewards. There's never been a better time to download Genshin Impact, which you can do using the link in the description and pinned comment. Download it today for free. Give it a try. Thank you, Genshin Impact, for sponsoring this video.
And now for something completely different.
I've always wondered why these 2 videos of mine in particular did so well. Perhaps this setting and time period resonates with the COD community. It is where the series began, and it's nostalgic. Or, you know, maybe it's just because everyone wants to
Take out those fucking PC vaults!
So my goal is to touch on some points I maybe didn't elaborate on in my original video. Things I glossed over, or stuff I didn't appreciate enough. Did I mention I also have a second channel that I never promote, and I'll be uploading some Call of Duty stream highlight videos there. But go subscribe to Actman TV and follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/theactingmale. It's the sexiest channel around.
Do it!
Now that I'm done shilling myself, World at War is greater than its nostalgia factor. Dude, the thing that's so good about this game is it's not just nostalgia. Like, it's actually good. I'm having fun. And it's certainly more than just a product of its time or yet another World War II shooter. Now, let's just jump straight into this. In my World at War review, I shared this quote from Tim O'Brien's novel, The Things They Carried, aka that war book everyone had to read in high school. You can tell a true war story by its absolute and uncompromising allegiance to obscenity and evil. That statement always resonated with me.
Nice!
Because World at War has a very clear, direct connection with its source material. If you took the phrase, world's deadliest conflict, and burned it onto a disc, this is what you would get.
Every night we lay in a filthy foxhole praying the enemy won't slit our throats. Every day we're spent crawling through the mud and the dirt while bullets whistle all around. But this is the last time we're going to have to put our lives on the line. This is the enemy's last stand. When we take Shuri Castle, we go home, all of us.
Treyarch pulls no punches with the game's story, themes, and imagery. This is the most brutal Call of Duty campaign. And such brutality should be handled with a serious, grim tone.
Dimitri and I will provide cover from above. Wait till you hear the screams of dying Germans. Dimitri, this way!
You see, none of the characters in the story treat the violence or war effort as some kind of punchline to their lame-ass joke. I shoot Nazis, they die. That's my plan.
I shoot Nazis. They die. That's my plan.
Burn the wheat fields! There will be no escape! Shoot! I need to shoot them in the back! Big hit! Just so long as they are dead!
Nobody is turning to the camera to drop memorable one-liners as they're in the process of committing war crimes.
Yeah, that's why we brought the guns. To shoot them.
You see, back in the day, Treyarch wasn't focused on creating a shallow yet marketable cast of characters to monetize and sell skins through under the direct command of Activision Incorporated. Believe it or not, this series used to have a thing called dignity. And shady ulterior business motives seem to have no effect on the material or quality of World at War. And that means there's nothing to compromise its allegiance to obscenity and evil, something that both Vanguard and World War II utterly failed at. Across the campaign, zombies, and multiplayer, World at War aims for an authentically gritty World War II experience. In 2021, Sledgehammer Games saw fit to get rid of the factions entirely, cause playing as the Axis might be offensive. Meanwhile, Treyarch in 2008...
Victory belongs to Germany!
You win as the Germans, and Hitler starts giving a speech. But you see, something like that wouldn't be possible in the modern day. Look, my point is Call of Duty has gotten soft. It used to not shy away from presenting the hard things and getting into some controversy for the sake of that. Oh, what's that, Fidel Castro? You don't like that we're gonna make a game where players kill you? Don't care. Don't fucking care, Fidel Castro. But simply showing violence and gore doesn't make a great story. If it did, the Saw movies would all be critically acclaimed masterpieces. So what is important? How the violence is portrayed.
Looks like a temple or some shit.
Damn it!
Hold the ground! Hold the ground!
I don't need to see a man being skinned alive to think, oh, damn, I guess World War II really did suck balls. COD World War II at least had the theme of heroism and putting your life on the line for your comrades. Even if you're given a ticket home, you still go back to the fight. You stick up for your brothers. And that story was alright, but even when you found a concentration camp, the horrors of war were never really put on display. It's almost as if Activision started making World War II Call of Duty games just to get them out of the way, because a franchise that has had annual releases for 18 consecutive years is bound to run out of ideas at some point. The violence in World at War serves a higher purpose than simply being the context for a fun shooty game that's gonna make a shitload of dollars.
Chernoff! What is going on?
These men are trying to surrender!
Look around you, Chernoff. Do you think these men will be denied their revenge? Death comes only two ways. Fast or slow. Dimitri, it is your choice. You should have shot them, Chernoff. It's only cruel to prolong an enemy's suffering.
The use of real historical footage, people, and audio is compelling because it reminds you that these battles really did happen. The context for what you're doing is established. The team at Treyarch spliced in some of their own edits to create a unique visual style. It almost plays like a propaganda film.
We outnumber the Germans 10 to 1. Wave upon wave of our infantry are unleashed upon them to clear the way for our armor.
The cinematography in the cutscenes is so good. My only complaint, damn, I wish it was longer. I want to draw your focus to this shot in particular. Watch.
3 bitter months after it was supposed to. When we shipped out for Okinawa.
Did you see it? Did you notice the animation of the planes that then led to mimicking the framing of real footage? This shot lasts a half second. Little details like this make all the difference to me. It's why the story and presentation feel so vivid. Animated? Boom, real. Treyarch intentionally wanted to blur the lines between the actual war and the one they're presenting in-game. This is a technique Treyarch used to great success in their games, until Black Ops 3 when they stopped caring.
Train go boom.
This game has 2 main stories. One half follows the American Private Miller and his squad as they push into Japanese territory and fight in the Pacific Theater. The other has you take control of
Dmitri Petrenko,
a simple private who meets up with Viktor Reznov, and together, these 2 Russians develop an uncanny ability for cheating death.
Dmitri, we thought you were among the dead in the massacre at the square.
he was among them, but not one of them. Dmitri, once again, you cheat death.
That's a very intriguing theme, this idea of survival. Because the Red Army lost about 8 million soldiers and accumulated more deaths than any other country in the war. In Semper Fi, we're introduced to Sergeant Sullivan and Corporal Roebuck, voiced by Kiefer Sutherland. Does a fantastic job, by the way. They discuss plans to rescue some POWs, and you're one of them.
For all we know, they're already dead. If what little we know about the Japanese is true, it might be better if they are.
I love these cutscenes. Dude, the dialogue in this game fucks. The game starts off with a bang. As you fight across a beach into the jungle under a moonlit night, as the Japanese pull out every trick in the book to take you down. I said this before, the American side feels very much for the gameplay, as the story takes somewhat of a back seat. But don't let your guard down or else... Oh, fuck. Holy crap. Oh my god, look at... Banzai! Oh, Banzai! I love that they shout that too. I don't know if it's historically accurate, this like... Yes, they all, you know, right before they charged on the battlefield, they all yelled Banzai. They had to. It didn't matter if it gave away their position. But you probably noticed a trend in newer Call of Duties, especially with Advanced Warfare, where they take control away from the player for no real reason. Or they give you the smallest amount of control possible. It's like, hey, look at this wall and press up on the left stick.
What you're seeing is Advanced Warfare.
And it's fucking boring. World at War also illustrates Call of Duty's misuse of QuickTime events. Like Resident Evil 4, I think they're best when it's part of the gameplay and not mandatory mashing in the story. Oh, fuck, I missed it. World at War has a ton of vignettes that are possible to overlook because you have control. Yeah, and they had like cinematic stuff like that happens. And that's just a little story beat, you know? I love that shit. And the story is presented in a similar vein to BioShock, the OG Halos, and Half-Life. You're not forced to stare at these scripted events as they happen. These are powerful moments because it makes you feel like there's more going on than just what you, the player, are doing.
He's all snarled up on something. Shit! Grenade!
Almost like it's a real war? What? I feel like some people focus too much on the insignificant details when they bring up historical accuracy in video games. Now, technically, there weren't tanks on this specific island at this exact moment in the war. You know, regular German and Japanese soldiers didn't chuck 50 consecutive grenades at Allied forces at every conceivable moment. Yeah, recreating certain battles exactly as they were would be tedious and unnecessary, but replicating them, that's what I'm all about. It doesn't matter to me if a game is historically accurate, what matters is if it tries to be. If I can be immersed in the setting and feel like I'm there, then you've done your job, mission accomplished, good work. Out of curiosity, I checked out some old World War II pictures and videos, and the influence is clear. Some parts of World at War look like shot-for-shot remakes of actual locations during the time. Treyarch also stays true to the tactics used during the war, especially in their characterization of the Japanese fighting style.
Early in World War II, the Japanese had gained the reputation of being fanatical fighting men. It was a well-earned reputation.
Banzai! Every level focuses on a different type of combat. The second mission takes place on Peleliu Island, and it gives the spectacle of naval combat, storming a beach in an LVT. You're calling in airstrikes, burning out bunkers, all the while keeping an eye out for booby traps. All seems well once you secure a fortified position until our commanding officer gets banzai'd. Though we only knew him briefly, Sullivan's death came at a time when we weren't expecting. It's unceremonious and happens in a flash, like so many others who died.
Sullivan! Sullivan's death. We just never saw it coming. I still can't believe it. Most solid, dependable, and courageous Marine we've ever known.
The coffin turns into a star in the American flag and they're all there saluting. Like, it's so fucking creative. I'm a big sucker for scenes where characters discuss battle plans. I like seeing maps and having a general idea of what the strategy is. I like it when characters don't make stupid plans. But take the idea of assaulting an airfield, right? You expect to see planes getting shot down. Yeah, we got air support.
Dude! We're falling right out of the sky!
One of them is even booby-trapped at the start of Hard Landing. Huh, that title, Hard Landing. Planes getting shot down, assaulting an airfield. You're putting the pieces together too, aren't you? But I like that Treyarch didn't try to come up with their own fictional battles in World War II. They didn't make up shit like the Battle of Domo Arigato Island. You know how you can feel the effort someone put into making something? I can feel the months of research that went in to make sure World at War stood up to scrutiny. Keep in mind, to my knowledge, every single battle portrayed here was real. The objectives were real. It's authentic. And I appreciate that this game appreciates history and the veterans. So while the Japanese conflict functions more as a way for Treyarch to make dynamic gameplay encounters, the story of the Red Army is the real highlight to me. Both campaigns follow important chronological events and stages of the war. The next mission you play always has higher stakes than the last. The end of the war, the last cutscene, is the Enola Gay dropping the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That's powerful stuff to put in a game. Larger groups of soldiers populate the later levels, as well as tanks, artilleries, and whatnot. It's a timeline. The Russian campaign starts in 1942 at Stalingrad, where Russian forces attempt to retake the city. 3 years later, Reznov rescues Dmitry during the Battle of the Silo Heights. The Red Army mounts a counteroffensive and begins their march into German territory. The Russians continue to throw wave after wave of men at the enemy, and storms across the land in all-out tank warfare. Eventually they arrive on the outskirts of Berlin and assault the main compound, the heart of the Reich. The Soviet flag is placed atop the Reichstag, and it marks the end of the war on the Eastern Front. This is what I call the progression of conflicts, and it's part of why World at War is so fucking epic. The tone of the Russian campaign ends in bombastic fashion, but it begins in sorrow. The first level has you outnumbered and on the run. Your goal is simple: survive. The Battle of Stalingrad was a turning point that marked the start of Russia's brute force push against the Nazis. It was the largest and most expansive battle of the war. Death estimations for this one battle put it at around 2 freaking million, making this the deadliest battle of World War II, and therefore the deadliest battle in history. And in World at War, they sure fucking nailed that atmosphere. You link up with none other than Viktor Reznov, and he fills us in on his plans to assassinate a German general, as well as the Overall vibe in Stalingrad? Hey Reznov, how you feeling? You think your team can go out there and stick it to the enemy team?
For days, I have crept through shadows like a rat. This place once echoed with conversations of friends and lovers. No longer.
No longer.
Mark my words, comrade. One day things will change.
As part of his character, Reznov is not there to inspire hope in the surviving Russian forces. He doesn't say, "Don't worry, we'll bring back these memories. Oh yeah, sure." Just...
No longer.
Dmitri and Reznov sneak through the city, avoiding patrols, escaping through burning buildings, and dealing with the toughest sniper jackal ever.
Good hunting!
Eventually, you stalk and execute General Amsel before narrowly avoiding death and jumping into the Volga River. The Eastern Front heats up in the next level. Their land, their blood. The Russian war cries echo across the desolated farmland. Dmitri is rescued once again by Reznov and a new soldier, Chernov. This is when World at War gives an unexpected choice to the player.
I'm not hearing gunshots.
There is no point, Sergeant. They are already bleeding to death.
Then maybe our friend will help them bleed faster.
This is what I love about World at War, its moral ambiguity. You know, because the Second World War was just a teeny bit more complex than, like, bad guys fight good guys. The Red Army in this game is characterized by three people. Reznov is motivated by revenge and does not care how the enemy is destroyed, only that they are.
If they stand for Germany, they die for Germany. Building by building, room by room, one rat at a time.
Chernov is more sympathetic and willing to extend mercy at times. He sees only suffering in killing beyond what they have to.
Sergeant, there are survivors! These animals ran and marauded their way through the motherland without mercy. They deserve none in return.
And you, Dmitri, you are the bridge between these two. You pick what type of soldier you want to be. Do you risk Amsel's escape to help your Russian comrades? If you do, Reznov will scold you for it. Do you execute every German you find with impunity and take no prisoners? Do you burn their crops? Do you burn them alive? What better way to capture the dichotomy of the Soviet Union than to present their conflict of morals? Remember, this is a country that both played a huge part in starting the war and ending the war. Russia gave more blood than any single country or army, but it wasn't always for a good cause. That's complexity. The character Chernov plays a small but essential role in rounding out the rough edges of the Red Army. There's three slightly different endings depending on what you did during a few key moments that he writes about in his journal.
April 30th, 1945. When he first spoke of Dmitri, Reznov told tales of a hero. Someone we should all aspire to be like. His merciless brutality defines him only as a savage. Just like the rest of the Red Army. He is no hero.
Even though this type of branching story was more prominent in Black Ops 2, I think it's an amazing idea to put players in a position where they have to make uncomfortable choices. That's what war's about, man. Within the first minute of Vendetta, it's pretty clear who's committing the war crimes. And spoiler alert, it ain't my team. But you do become totally sympathetic to the Soviets. I mean, they just got massacred. You see your fellow soldiers gunned down in cold blood. How could you not feel vengeance rising within you? And this is exactly what Reznov feels.
Once we have control of Sealand, we will begin the march to Berlin. There, we will ensure that every sacrifice is repaid in blood.
A complete and utter hatred of the Nazis and the German soldiers. It's a trait that spreads to most of the Red Army around us, as many of these vignettes show the Red Army executing Germans, almost without a second thought. Even the naming of the levels is gritty and in tune with what you're playing.
You see how things have changed, my friend. Now it is their land. Real people. Real blood.
But as time passes and the war continues and we fight alongside Reznov and Chernov, the Russians become just as bloodthirsty as the ones they're fighting. This is emphasized in the dynamic between Chernov and Reznov, and I like that they didn't make Reznov just a pure asshole who forced Chernov to do what he asked him to.
Which do you think will lead us home? Writing about this war or fighting it? No one will ever read this! If you lack the stomach to kill for your country, at least show me that you are willing to die for it! Chernov! No!
Oh, Chernov.
Dmitri! Someone should read this.
What's also chilling is that when Nazi Germany did surrender, a large amount of German soldiers kept fighting towards the west so they wouldn't be captured by the Soviets.
Dmitri! Finish those rats!
Because their reputation for treating POWs was so bad. And that's what you see in the game.
He wants mercy. You do not deserve mercy. What mercy did you show to let me die? Wait. He may come. Help us. He can die for us.
Skipping ahead to the next Russian level, the conflict expands across wide fields and has the player blasting through German tanks. The music swells with intensity as for the first time the full might of the Red Army is unleashed. Now it's a good time to bring up the soundtrack because I can't stop feeling this love for the Red Army. And, you know, was communism really that bad? Thought it sounded kind of good, to be honest, but, you know. And maybe Stalin was kind of a good guy too? Oh my god, that's the soundtrack doing that to me. It's pretty rare to feel patriotism for a country you've never been to or lived in. But that's kind of what I feel, man. The music absolutely sells this game, and World at War would have just been a shadow without it. Miller! Pass the aux cord! Ooh, baby. Trench gun. Normally I ramble for so long in my videos I end up scrapping the section on music. But not this time. World at War's soundtrack can be separated into the quiet and the loud. The somber, slower pieces are used in scenes with characters or when portraying the actual loss of life. The hard guitar riffs and chanting are so goddamn metal. It's the embodiment of the war machine grinding. Each mission has a suite of songs it goes through. Certain events during gameplay will trigger different tracks to play. But what's so amazing about it is how fluid the songs flow between each other, how the music progresses alongside the combat. I think the best mission that illustrates this is Black Cats. In this mission, you're taking down those fucking PT boats! In an American aircraft, you're trying to rescue fellow soldiers. You're commencing an air raid on Japanese ships. Both the music and gameplay progress through phases. This is the cycle for the majority of the game, and both the loud and quiet moments complement each other. The music in Black Cats is almost like you're hearing the AA cannons shooting at you. It's like you're not listening to a song, that's gunfire. At least that's what it feels like. This is but one of many examples of how awesome the soundtrack is throughout the game. The music also plays into how the campaigns are presented, what perspective they come from.
Kill them all!
Kill them all! Do svidanya. Yeah, it's why I think the music in this game is so good. Your side is crushing the enemy, but it always sounds menacing, not heroic. Excellent point, Tommy. Excellent point. The American side is portrayed in a more heroic light, but with elements of tragic loss. The typical American hero sacrificing himself for his country. He did the noble thing, the right thing. It's an idea Americans like to fetishize a lot, isn't it? World at War is kind of sneaky about this though, because it's like, yeah, we are doing the right thing. By the way, don't look at those guys that are on fire back there. I didn't blast them with a flamethrower. That wasn't me. The way both stories are told, it's almost like you're getting a first-hand account of the war. Having silent protagonists plays into this. I find it all the more interesting that none of the Germans or Japanese soldiers have scenes. You know, there's no scene of like Hitler's successor in his war office and we see him talking to someone else. There's no scene of a Japanese general giving orders. We're just there fighting them. They never speak in English. What they're saying isn't subtitled. And that is a brilliant stylistic choice because it makes the enemies feel more foreign and alien to us. But this video is going on for too long, so let's wrap it up. The final levels has the Reich crumbling to dust beneath the overwhelming might of the Russians. First, we assault the outskirts before pushing into the heart of Nazi operations. The iconic fight in the German Reichstag lifts imagery directly from World War II. After countless battles, at last, victory is in sight. All that's left is to raise the Soviet flag.
Dmitry Petrenko! I saw this man cheat death, time after time at the siege of Stalingrad. As long as he lives, the heart of this army cannot be broken. He makes us all proud. As long as he lives, the heart of this army cannot be broken. He makes us all proud. As long as he lives.
You can make it, my friend. You always survive.
The honor should be yours.
As long as you live, the heart of this army can never be broken.
Things will change, my friend. As heroes, we will return to Russia's embrace.
But even after we defeat Nazi Germany and quote-unquote save the world, it doesn't feel like it. And World at War's final message to the player is this. Overall, Call of Duty World at War offers arguably the best and most realistic World War II experience in a video game. Its uncompromising allegiance to obscenity, evil, and authenticity is severely underappreciated. But not to me, not anymore, and that's why I decided to revisit it, because I didn't pay enough respects. Every gameplay opportunity was a chance for Treyarch to immerse you and leave their imprint on a certain aspect of the war. It sure left a mark on me. And that is why Call of Duty World at War is a masterpiece.